One of the biggest words that we use in substance use is enabling. A lot of times I don't think enabling is done on purpose to derail somebody who's trying to maintain sobriety.
I believe inside any of the chronic relapser is this other person. I refer to them as the inner champion.
You call it inner champion, and I might call it the survivor.
The people that are watching this that feel stuck, what would your advice be to them?
Never give up, because I never give up hope that a person can get sober and stay sober. I never give up on that.
In the work that you do you ever touch on that aspect of it, the brain, the rewiring, that inner voice, what we tell ourselves, those negative thoughts?
Well,
do you explore that?
I mean, of course, I work a lot with negative thoughts, but primarily, I see my job as building new neural pathways, whether it's through meditation, skills, maybe a return to physical activity when somebody hasn't, like building new neural pathways, because the neural pathway that's carved with addiction is never going away, right? But we can build new neural pathways.
Correct.
That's pretty much like what I see my focus as, and it's my belief, and I know you know somebody who might be able to refute me on this, but I think it takes time, as far as every day that you spend not picking up a drink or a drug, it gets easier and easier and easier. The first, 30, 60, 90, 120 days are the hardest.
I agree.
But then, and that doesn't mean that you won't have cravings or, but the longer you have away from the drug of choice, the better the chances are. Which can lead me down a whole other discussion about treatment and how long should I be in treatment for, but I won't go down that pathway because we're not talking about that. But it's about time.
Yeah, and I know we're not going to go down that path, but I was asked recently my thoughts on 30 days versus 60 days versus 90 days.
90 days is the gold standard, and it should be, but however, everybody's circumstance is different. But if you really want the best chances of sobriety, most folks relapse within the first 90 days. They're crucial days. So if you can't, for some reason, be in treatment for 90 days, you're going to have a really good, solid continuing care plan that's going to get you those 90 days. Something like having a coach.
No, that resonates with me because my experience, I went to a high-end rehab facility here in Delray back in 2017. I went in the fall. And after about 3 weeks, a hurricane was coming in or something. I said, look, I got to get home, my boat, my house. I'm good. I'll take care of myself. This was in October of 17. And so when I walked back in the front door January of 18 and had to admit, 3 weeks, even if it had been 4 weeks, sure as hell wasn't enough for somebody that had chronic relapse behavior for 30 plus years. But yeah, I needed to go back. 30 days, 60 days wasn't going to change a lifetime of not only behavior, but thinking. So it's an interesting topic, and I hear more about it lately about what's the right amount of time. But for the people that are watching this that feel stuck, what would your advice be to them on how they can start rewiring their brain to get to a place of safety and perhaps increase their sense of self-worth? I mean, I haven't given up, Vanessa, but I'm stuck. I just can't seem to get out of this behavior. Broad question, what kind of advice would you give that person?
Okay. But first off, your primary message, never give up, is something that like I can completely latch onto, because my favorite type of patient to work with is a chronic relapser, because I never give up hope that a person can get sober and stay sober. I never give up on that. The first thing I think it starts with is your thinking of, I can do this on my own. Right? That, yeah, is that, I'm smart enough. I'm better than this. I can do this myself. I don't need people to help me. I'm just going to start to go to the gym. I'm going to start to eat better. I'm not going to go out on Friday night, or I'm only going to drink 2 drinks on a Friday night, and I'm going to monitor my drinking. And if that is your choice in order to make change initially, Godspeed, right? Everybody has, but you get to a point where you have to realize that you cannot do this without professional help and the help of people who have been there and have gotten over it. And that is my personal belief, that you need to humble yourself, which is really, really difficult sometimes, especially when dealing with an individual of high net worth who has built a billion-dollar business, has been extremely successful in the vocation dimension of wellness, that why can't I do this? And it's very, very defeating. But can you accept help from another human being? And I think that starts here.
Okay. The way I approach it is that if they are truly a chronic relapser, they're not giving up. And I always ask the question, why is it do you think that you haven't given up? Because we all know people that have, and it ends in overdose, terrible extended alcoholic death. What keeps you coming back? And I never really get a clear answer. It's just I don't want to live this life, so I keep trying. And my answer and my core belief, because of what I experienced personally, 2 or 3 years subsequent to going through that rehab facility, through coaching work that I received personally, was that inside of me, and I believe inside any of the chronic relapser, is this other person. I refer to them as the inner champion, whatever you want to call it, that's been with us our entire lives. It's just when our addiction became active, we lost touch with that person, because of all the shame and guilt we were experiencing from our addictive behaviors. But my belief is that person is still there. So what I attempt to do is get the client to get reacquainted with this inner champion, if you will. They're still there. And when I say that to people, sometimes I get a really squirrely look, like, what the hell are you talking about, inner champion or whatever? And I say, well, the fact is, if you're sitting across from me, you're still looking for help. You're still looking for answers. You haven't given up. And you can't answer the question specifically as to why. Um, do you, I'm just going to ask your opinion, do you agree? I don't know what the right word is, but do you feel that the people that keep coming back, whether it's to the halfway house, the treatment center, to the coach, to the therapist, they're in this repetitive cycle of recovery, but they're still there. They haven't given up. That there is some kind of inner force that won't allow them to give up on themselves?
Yeah, you call it inner champion, and I might call it the survivor,
Yes.
right? The survivor.
Can I steal that? I'm going to write that down.
Sure. The survivor. It's so funny because as a clinician in a treatment center, you need to pick out a patient's strengths. And oftentimes I use the word perseverant for a lot, most of, because that's what it is perseverance. I mean, how many people do you know got this right the first time? There's a learning curve.
Yeah.
It frustrates me beyond that there's a learning curve to this, but there is. And it's the perseverance. And, it, I can see how frustrating it might be to be in a treatment program 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9 times. But that is perseverance, because where else are you going to go? When you've hit bottom, where else when you've hit a bottom with, whether it's you've been drinking for 3 days in a row and you just can't stop, where else are you going to go?
I think part of that, I know for me personally, by the time I got to a facility in Delray, Ocean Drive specifically is where I went. I had already been up the road to Palm Beach to Hanley on 2 different occasions, 2 30-day programs. I've been to Passages out in California, Ventura, then went back to Malibu, both 30-day programs. All I ever accomplished was to learn how to stand up on a surfboard, because my reason for going to the 30-day program was that it was a safe haven. And I know it would be a nice place. It'd have good food. It'd have good therapists. I'll go through the motions, say what I'm expected to say. 30 days will be over. The noise at home is quiet. The wife believes I'm getting better. The kids are proud of dad that he's getting help. But I never went because I truly wanted to get sober. And then when I had to experience some consequences in life, when I got back to Carrington Ocean Drive, it was for the first time I truly wanted it. Something had changed up here. I don't know so much inside, but something had changed in my head and my brain that says, Bob, you can't keep going through these motions for other people. You really have to do this for yourself. And that was a seismic shift in how I viewed the entire experience. And my point of bringing that up is when you meet with somebody the first time and you can sense that perhaps they're just going through the motions. They have no sense of surrender or willingness to really get clean and sober through the rest of their life. They're doing it maybe as a stopgap or to appease other people around them. How do you move forward with them in your conversation initially?
A person needs to live their life the way they see fit, right? And so if it's a person's desire to come into treatment and sit there for 30, 60, 90 days and not do anything, I mean, this is pretty blunt, but we'll see you when you get back. I think in a sense, the world takes care of itself with that, because the disease beats you down to a place where you have to come to the conclusion of, I need to stop doing this. I can't go on like this. I'm tired of feeling sick. I'm tired of hurting the ones around me. This is not right for me. This has gotten out of hand. Whatever is going on in somebody's mind, that takes care of itself. However, I mean, as a clinician working in a treatment center, you do the best you can to prepare and plant a seed of these are the things that could potentially happen. I've had quite a few people come to treatment for the first time. I plant those seeds. If you don't do this, it's highly possible this will happen. And, a lot of times people come back and they say, you're right. Now I'm ready.
That's interesting, because the reason I asked that, I got a call recently from someone, an alumni of the treatment center I went to. I've known them on and off over the years. And like me, my past history, they're an active chronic relapser. And they called me up and said, I know you, I know what you're doing, I'm well aware of what you're doing. Um, you think you could help me out? But he was kind of nonchalant about it, or not joking about it, but do you really think you could help me? And if you think you do, I'm ready to spend some time, spend a couple of dollars with you. And I said, what I don't sense is a real sense of the fact that you're ready. And when you're really, really ready, we know one another well enough, so don't be offended. When you're really ready, then call me back. But right now, I'm not sure I can honestly help you. And when I hung up the phone, I felt awful. I mean, I did. But I could tell they weren't ready. You know what I'm saying? In a real deep sense. And I was sitting, with my fiance, who and I said, just heard the conversation. What are your thoughts? And you're absolutely right. Until they're truly ready, you're wasting your time, but more importantly, you're wasting their time, giving them a false sense of hope. So we've gone on a while. I kind of maybe took us off track in the beginning, but that thought had come to me around the difference between, the clinician, the therapist, and the coach. But with the time we have remaining, Vanessa, is there any message that you would like to put out to people that are listening? Anything you'd like to share? And I guess the last question I'd ask is, you've been doing this for a while. What maintains your passion for helping other people day in and day out? Because what you do, I would think at times emotionally, can be a very challenging profession.
I mean, I'm passionate about the disease because I have it. And I didn't have people in my life that were close enough to me, and maybe this is part of my own fault, that were able to say, like, you're out of control. So I got sober the hard way. But I am passionate about it because there's such a difference between somebody who's living actively drinking and drugging versus somebody who's sober. It's like this transformation as a human being that I don't even think I could put words to. And if I get that once a year, let's say I see 40 or 50 people a year, probably more, or I work with 40, 50 people more a year, one person gets it. It's that you can't put a price tag on that. And it's just I probably shouldn't say this, but it's just a shitty disease that's misunderstood. People don't understand it. And it's underestimated. That its power is so underestimated, and it's manageable. That's the crazy thing about it, is it's manageable. So I'd be happy doing this for the rest of my life in some capacity, because I love the work.
Somebody, an old friend of mine that I reconnected with recently, talking about what we're doing in life and where we are, and I told them what I was doing, or kind of somewhat at the beginning of, and they said, Bob, you're 72 years old, and you've made a decision at this point in life that you want to help people that are drug addicts or alcoholics or sex addicts or gamblers, whatever. You're in the twilight of your life, and this is what you've chosen to do. Why? And without hesitation, Vanessa, my answer was that sense of fulfillment I get inside. Now, Sergio knows we did a video the other day with one of our alumni, a young man, and he went on quite extensively as to what I had done for him when he was in early recovery about 5 years ago. To the point, it almost brought tears to my eyes. And then he talked about how, he had a baby, and I'm the godfather. Bob's the godfather of my son. That was the most fulfilling experience I think perhaps I've ever had, short of the birth of my children. And So yeah, I wake up every day and not actively who can I help or how can I help or whatever, but just that sense of what I'm doing during the course of the day has real value in helping transform other people's lives. And I've never experienced this before.
It's a life, and you can't put a price tag on that. There's a better way to live, but my second answer to your question of why do you do this is because we recover. We do.
Yeah. Yeah. We're living examples of it.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
I think it's important for people to know if they want to connect with you, how to find you, where you're at. Do you have a website, whatever?
www.delima, DELIMA, C is in cat, G is in George.com, www.delimacg.com.
Okay. Thank you again, my friend. It was enjoyable. I always learn.
Well, I hope it turns out the way y'all want it, and if it's not, I apologize, but if it's a success and you want me to come back, I'll do anything for you.
My professional observation at this point is, you ready?
Yeah.
You weren't shitty.
Okay, great.
You were you. You were the Vanessa I know, so thank you.